The final episode of She-Hulk has dropped, and so here's my ranking of all the MCU and DCEU shows combined ranked. Hi, my name is Nathan. Down below in the comment section, share your ranking of all the MCU and DCEU shows combined ranked. Granted, there's only one DCEU show. Over on my channel, there's more content like this. Check those out when this video is over. With that said, let's start the ranking. Easily in last place, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. This is an amusing enough, but very odd show in the MCU. It's just really bad. It's a series of courtroom dramas that are too silly, and it's a very strange comedy because I wasn't laughing. And it gets so goofy to the point where she goes to the Disney Plus home screen and transfers to another, sort of assembled the making of She-Hulk thing. It's bizarre and it doesn't feel at all like it's in the MCU. I would be okay if I never saw this again. Number 9, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, this one was a huge disappointment for me because I was so excited to see this, but it's too interested in making our villains the Flag Smashers resident that, unfortunately, I believe them, and that's not a good thing. Characters make bad choices throughout it, it lacks a compelling story, and the twist is better left unmentioned because it's so predictable and it doesn't pay anything off. I just didn't enjoy it. Number 8 is Miss Marvel. This show is simply not for me. It has a cool, sort of lighthearted vibe. It's a nice breath of fresh air, but overall, it feels like a Disney Channel show with a Marvel skin wrapped around it. I did not care about the story, the adventure going on, and it feels like each episode genre shifts. One of them is a globetrotting adventure, then the next one is adult dramas, and it's so uninteresting, and so this one is just simply not for me. Number 7 is Loki, an interesting piece and an exploration of the multiverse of the MCU. It's kind of like a crime MCU show with the TVA in it. It has a cool and different vibe, and there's twists and turns along the way. It's not the most rewatchable of MCU Disney Plus shows, but for what it was worth in its original run, I really enjoyed what they did with it. Next up is Moon Knight. This is a more mature MCU show, and at its center is a charismatic lead of Steven and Mark, who I just thought worked very well. They have nice chemistry with one another. It has these trippy things that happen that you don't know what's going on, much like the lead character. And it is also a globe-trotting adventure throughout places like Egypt. It's very weird, but that is a compliment. This is one where my mind was absolutely blown with what they did with it. Kicking off our top 5 is WandaVision, and this one was a pleasant surprise when it first dropped. This was the one I was most intrigued by from the beginning, and it builds so much intrigue that the answers sometimes aren't that good. It kind of ends on a sour note because of that, but at its core, it's also a tragic story about Wanda not accepting her loss. Maybe it needed a better ending, but this one I was intrigued by from beginning to end. Number 4 is What If, a cool exploration of different scenarios occurring within these moments in the MCU. It's not afraid to take risks. It does a bunch of these weird, wacky things, especially with our final showdown with the Guardians of the Multiverse. I had a blast with that. And it's very memorable because it's so distinct and it's always enjoyable. There's one about zombies, a heartbreaking one about Doctor Strange. It's all there, and so this is one that's really good. In third place is Hawkeye, a nice breath of fresh air for the MCU, and it's very small in scale, and that's what I enjoyed about it, as that it was lighthearted and it wasn't big explosions like all these other MCU shows. It has great characters, it develops more of our Hawkeye characters about what happened during the blip. Everything is lived up, and this is what the MCU should do more of. Honestly, my biggest criticism is that I wish there was more of this. Our runner-up, Werewolf by Night, an MCU show that has the aesthetic of these old 30s monster movies, and it's unique and different in the way, and it has a cool vibe because of that. There's actual stunt work put into it, excellent action sequences where there's actual gore, and it's probably my favorite thing here in Phase 4 with the movies. Honestly, I just wish it was a movie and it would have been at the number 1. But coming in first place for me, Peacemaker. To me, this was the most compelling, emotional, and heartfelt of all the shows on this list. James Gunn applies his bag of tricks to this show, and that just makes for something very cool. It has a great ensemble and dynamic because he's so good at doing these, and it's also just ultra violent and funny. But what I really appreciate about it was that it paid off every single thing. From a joke about a guy with a beard is paid off as a heartfelt moment. It is also just an absolute blast with great action. So for me, it is my favorite. There you have it. That's my ranking. Down below, share your ranking. If you enjoy this video, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe, and that really helps a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.